The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why?
Now, this is really important. I talk to you guys a lot about product-based business for good reason, which is to say that I encourage you to be good capitalists, to earn wealth and to build businesses is the best vehicle for that. And products are going to allow you to maintain your free time and freedom once you create a system. These are great examples of multinational corporations that are making a killing, literally. And if you check out the Book of Dark Truths, it gives you a greater understanding of how to operate. In fact, I was just reviewing Boston University last night because I really want to get my engine back started. I want to be highly productive. I have so much to do and so many challenges. So I was going through Boston University to get my mindset right. And you're going to enjoy it. That's a ton of content. Just last night, someone had asked me, hey, what's in Boston University? And I actually was going through the course at that time. And I was like trying to read off to them all of the different lessons. I just got tired. I was like, you get a sense of it. I'm not going to read the rest of the titles. It has that much content. It's pretty awesome. So shout out to the Saint who just got Boston University. And I highly recommend those of you to do a review of it if you already have it. Anyways, these are the corporations that are controlling. This is why America's defense budget is so big, because they want to sell their products. Now, if your product is the weapon of war, then we require wars, right? Just like the truth of the matter is, if hospitals take care of sick people, then they need more sick people. And there's some businesses that is what feeds them, things that are negative. And those businesses, me as a capitalist, I think most things should be private. Like, for example, the DMV, that should be private. Why do we need the government doing that? They're terrible at that. Schools, those should be private. There should be public standards that everyone must meet, but those should be largely private. Because it being private doesn't create any true negative outcome. But weapons manufacturers, for the American government's military being private, well, that creates a lot of problems because they would lobby to have more war so that they can drive profits. Every corporation, every company, your primary goal is making money, and that's reasonable. That's why weapons manufacturers should not be public or private companies. They should be government. And you'll almost never hear me say that I want anything to be government.
Because then that country has to conform its military purchases when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. But the big, big expenses are going to come after the war.
Now, this is the part that I've talked about for a long time. He said the large expenses are coming after the war, and that's correct. This is the rebuilding of Ukraine, right? We destroy it so we can rebuild it. In some cases, when it's colored people, we never rebuild it. Shout out to Libya. We never rebuilt it. Broke it, never rebuilt it. But the fact is, Ukraine will be rebuilt because it's in Europe and it has very fertile land, which supplies Europe. And we also want to maintain good relations so that the Russians don't go in and rebuild, right? So the Westerners are going to go in and rebuild just to make sure the Russians don't do it. We'll do it at great expense to the American taxpayer and then great profit to American multinational corporations, which is to say that your taxes that are supposed to house your sick and poor, your taxes that are supposed to build your roads and maintain your strong bridges, your taxes that are supposed to educate your children, they won't be doing that. That's why your public schools suck. Your infrastructure is in decay. You have entire cities with like abandoned blocks like Baltimore and Detroit. And there's one other little one I can't remember right now. But the fact is you have entire sections of those cities that look like the third world. And then you have Michigan that has dirty drinking water. And then you have states like Mississippi, which are like largely poor. It's extraordinary. But then we're going to make sure that Ukraine is shining and sparkling because we love Ukrainians, right? Yet you blow up the earth, chemicals in the air, in the soil, and in the water, poisoning the animals and the human beings. For example, the United States, when they were testing the nuclear weaponry so that they could eventually take out the Russians, the Soviet Union, or blow up the entire earth in the process, I believe it was the Marshall Islands. Let me Google that to make sure. Sometimes you learn so much. Marshall Islands, nuclear testing. Let me make sure I'm correct. Yes, I am correct. Yes, it was the Marshall Islands. And there were peoples living there, colored peoples, like Asian-looking brown people. And the United States government said, hey, we need to test these nuclear weapons. Don't worry. It won't contaminate the water that you've been fishing in since time immemorial. Don't worry, don't worry. It won't cause any issues. They do all this nuclear testing. Wicked people on the earth. And they eventually complete their testing and drop a bomb on Japan just because we're an aggressive, warlike, European, colonial-minded people. Evil. Drop a bomb on Japan for a European war that Europeans started, but we'll drop a bomb on the Asians. It is kind of comical when you think about it. Remember, World War II, that was a European conflict. World War I, European conflict. World War II, a European conflict. Drop the nuclear bomb on the Asians. Come on, somebody tell me how that adds up. It is kind of funny, though. It's not kind of funny. But anyways, going back to the Marshall Islands. Today, people in the Marshall Islands, they don't eat that fresh fish that they pull out of those waters. Island people, they eat fresh fish. They fish. No, many of the fish are dead. The ones that are still alive are contaminated. You can't eat it anymore. Some of the people still eat them every now and then when America's packaged goods come in late or in insufficient quantity. The American government sends packaged goods. You know, the kind of food you'd eat if you were an astronaut or if you were a soldier on campaign, food that doesn't expire, has nutrients, but is probably not healthy. Yeah, they survive on that because the environment has been poisoned. And when those women in the Marshall Islands have children, the kids might be born with no eyes, extra fingers, missing limbs, born deaf and blind. True stories, I tell you. Horror stories of a wicked government. Now, why do we need nuclear weapons? Why do we need the capacity to obliterate large portions of the earth and make sure that that earth is poisoned from now till ever with forever chemicals, as they call them? Why? Well, we only need that as long as we have the wicked European mentality ruling the earth. And their mentality basically says, who can kill who more effectively? They leverage the technology to have the greatest killing machines you've ever seen. Military budget in America is the biggest in the world. I do believe larger than the next 3 countries added together, maybe? Somebody check the data. It's unbelievable. So as long as you have those European mentalities, societies have to allocate disproportionate amounts of money to military just to protect themselves so that they don't end up being victim. Like whom? Like the whole African continent that was colonized, like all of Latin America that was colonized and partly eradicated, like the aboriginals to America who hardly exist because the genocide was so far reaching, like Hong Kong, which somehow became an English-speaking place. And they tell you to recycle this plastic bottle because this is going to save the world while they blow up the earth in Ukraine and in Afghanistan and in Libya and many other places and in Syria and too many places to name. If I name them all, it would just make me sad. But recycle this bottle of water because that's going to save us all. You're an idiot if you believe that. You support these animals with your taxes. You support these animals when you vote for them. You support these animals when you don't vote. You support these animals when you live weak and divided, separated. That's how they would have you, in debt. The reason I tell you relationships are so important is because when you have relationships, you don't need loans. Marquett, what do you mean? Yes, that's right. If you would like to be a landlord and you get 10 people together who have a modest income of $50,000, that's $500,000. With $500,000, we can do something. We can buy a duplex. We can do something. You save money when you have 50 people together. You save money. Someone's always free to babysit. Someone's always free to pick you up from the airport. You don't need to call an Uber. Community saves money. And community means protection. You have trust. We don't need to call the police if we all live together. When someone comes in our community, we know they don't belong here. We can deal with it. You don't need a security system on your house. You live on a block with all people that you know and respect. If they see something, not only are they going to say something, they're going to do something. Community, organization, that is the very thing that they don't want you to have. You live separated. You have a long distance relationship. You have everything is remote for you. Your mom lives way over there. Your dad's divorced with her and he lives over there. You're dating some girl you met on Tinder that lives 3 states away. Your kids went to college 9 states away. That's how you live and find happiness? In the modern era, you've been duped in so many ways. Did you know that when the personal computer came out, the idea was, before that, we're on typewriters. The idea was that the personal computer would be so fast and efficient, it would reduce the workday. You wouldn't have to work 8 hours because now we have this great machine. And when the internet came out, I was like, productivity was supposed to just shoot forward. So why are you going to need to work when we have all this technology? It's going to reduce the working hours. But what happened? It increased the working hours because you guys are idiots and you go for this stuff. You go for it. American corporations, and they consistently root back to BlackRock. And while we're talking about shell corporations and, you know, all of these like shady deals, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about taxes real quick and further explain how much of a scam it is. Because here's how we know the government is corrupt, right? If taxes were real, everyone would pay them, and there'd probably just be a flat tax, and it will probably be a consumption tax, meaning if you buy something, you pay 10% in taxes, and that would be the only tax. And it's very easy to tax. And people are always saying, oh, well, we can't all have the same taxes because the wealthy people need to pay more. Well, no, if you believe in equality, everyone needs to pay an equal percentage. Because here's the thing. If I pay $1 million in taxes and you pay $1,000 in taxes, well, shouldn't I get more service from the government than you? You better believe it, goddammit. If I pay more money to anything else, I'm going to get better service. If I pay more money to an airline, I get first class seats. You pay less money, you're going to get coach seats. So why would I pay more money to the government and not get better service? So it doesn't make sense to not have equality in percentages. But if you have a consumption tax on purchases, then the wealthy are going to pay more anyways because they're going to buy more, right? You buy a Toyota, they buy a Rolls-Royce Cullinan, $500,000 automobile. They're going to pay a lot more in taxes. In fact, their tax bill on that purchase is going to be more than your whole total purchase of your car. So a consumption tax is the most reasonable. And more importantly, there's no loopholes. There's no loopholes on the consumption tax. Now, this is how we know taxes are fake and your government is completely fraudulent. Well, the poor, they don't have tax strategists and accountants and shell companies and all these strategies. So they suffer. Conversely, the wealthy, they're able to get grants and favors. Shout out to Trump. He's got many grants, even in New York, which has been a very liberal place. But for example, what will happen is this. Say I have a large income. I become a business owner because that's a smart thing to do. And then I, identify certain things as expenses that may not necessarily be expenses, but I can, discount it on my taxes. And then if I would like to have an expensive car, companies have cars. So I'll get a company car, except my company car is not going to be a van. It's going to be a Maybach. So I'll actually have this car owned by the company, and now it's an expense. So now I have a $300,000 expense in the company, which we can, push against the profit. So I'm able to spend money that I want, tax-free dollars, and make it an expense in the company, and basically not pay actual taxes on my true income. Whereas you dummies, as individuals, as W-2 employees, you guys are going to pay taxes on every penny, and you don't even have that many pennies. Whereas business owner, I shouldn't even point to myself, whereas the wealthy, they find ways to use shell companies, trusts, tax strategists, and all of the loopholes that the IRS leaves open so that they don't have to pay taxes. So the question you should be asking yourself is, if taxes are real, why create ways to escape it? Well, the reason that they create ways to escape it is so that they can extract taxes from you, the poor and the middle class, mostly the middle class, right? Because the poor, they ain't really got that much money. But the middle class, there's a lot of these people, and the government wants to take their money. And who's the government? The wealthy class. So the wealthy class, they get to evade taxes through various strategies. The middle class pay all of their taxes, and the poor get some marginal benefits.
She complains that Donald Trump took advantage of the tax code. Well, why didn't she change it? Why didn't you change it when you were a senator? The reason you didn't is that all your friends take the same advantage that I do. And I do. You have provisions in the tax code that frankly we could change. But you wouldn't change it because all of these people give you the money so you can take negative ads on Donald Trump. And I say that about a lot of things. I've heard Hillary complaining about so many different things over the years. We should have done this, but she's been there for 30 years. She's been doing this stuff. She never changed, and she never will change.
So The reason we know taxes are fake is because there's ways to escape it. But here's a greater step. Your whole legal system and justice system is fake. Marquett, what do you mean? Just imagine if it was all about fairness and equity, how is it that some people get a public defender and then other people can get private counsel and you can have a legal team? Sometimes it might be known as the dream team. Shout out to O.J. Simpson, who got away with murder. I can't say that. I don't know that he did, but you know what I mean. The point is, if you have enough money to allocate, you have a greater advantage, which means that justice is not for everybody. It's for those who can afford it. Huh? Come on now. This stuff is all a scam. It was never created so that we could have equality or fairness. Rather, it was created so that the wealthy could always take advantage. So the inherent DNA of the American Republic and capitalist system was created such that the wealthier persons can always take advantage. For example, capitalism and democracy are incompatible systems. Why? Democracy is based on egalitarianism, equality, democracy, right? Capitalism is based on hierarchy and inequality, dummy. So how could you have two systems that are fundamentally opposed? Capitalism is about making as much money as you possibly can with no regard to anyone else. You want to become a millionaire. You don't really care that someone else is homeless, and you surely wouldn't give away your millions to eradicate homelessness. That's capitalism, which is based on human nature, because inequality is natural. There is no equality in nature. Conversely, democracy is based on the false idea that we're all equal. We get equal say, equal vote, equal this and equal that. Well, how do we correct that? With wealth, because wealthy people don't want that to happen. You don't want equality, because let's be real. If we had equality, the poor people would vote that they're not poor, right? And they would vote that the wealthy are not too wealthy, right? Come on now, we can't have that. So what we do is we have things like lobbies. Well, what's a lobby? Shout out to AIPAC, the Israeli lobby. That's why we bow down to Israel all the time. So we have these lobbies that basically are entities of lawyers and former politicians and, former bureaucrats, and they get together and they have a lot of money to influence politicians or to bully politicians. And that's how the wealthy maintain their interests. Yes, and they have various interests. Sometimes their interests are, hey, I'm a wealthy bookmaker, McGraw-Hill. Yes, and I produced this phenomenal book called The Black Box. And you know what? Because I want more book sales, I'd be willing to invest $250,000 in lobbying to bully the Department of Education so that they make this book required reading in the 8th grade. Now that The Black Box is required reading in the 8th grade, I've now sold 5 million copies at $10 each. Thank you. I've now made $50 million and I only had to invest $300,000 in my lobbyists. Yes, various interests. Oh, and where did that $5 million come from that they bought these books with for all the 8th grade students who go to public schools? That came from tax dollars. Yes, the middle class being robbed again. Oh, and when I make that money, am I going to pay taxes on that? Hell nah, I'm too smart for that. I got shell corporations. I got so many shadowy, deceitful ways to hide my money, trust, form bank accounts, and the whole nine. You think I'm paying taxes on that? Oh, you's a damn fool, my boy. Oh, and I'm an American, but I got dual citizenship with Israel. So I got a little bit of money in Israeli banks, a little bit of money in Swiss banks, a little bit of money in some other locations as well. You can't get me. And that's how money moves. And that is how the top of the triangle operates. Is this the way the world is supposed to be? Is this how you would have it? And you know your government's wicked and you still don't stand up. You know they're wicked. And we know that they lie about people. For example, and I'm no representative of Christianity. I do appreciate the good book and read it. I know it better than most Christians because they've not read it. I just read it. They've not read it. I'm not saying I'm a theologian. I'm just saying I actually read the book. That's all.
Brother Jones has come on to defend his God. Brother Jones, talk to the people.
I just have gripes with speaking against Christianity,
What did I say that was wrong?
talking about how the fact that God does not interfere.
So is God all powerful?
Correct.
Okay, God's all powerful. So he has all of the power.
Mm.
So any devil or any wrongdoer that operates is operating with the consent of God, correct?
Correct.
So you would then say Hitler was an instrument of God.
Correct.
Okay. Would you say that waterborne disease in sub-Saharan Africa is God's will?
Correct.
Okay.
All allowed. Yeah.
Right. That's amazing. And you're a Christian?
Yes, and I think there's a lot of confusion with God and what he stands for.
What? That was God's word? Like, bro, I ain't messing with your God. Your God dirty, Brody. That was crazy. Like, that was insane. And Brody was dead serious, but shout out to him.
And it was deeper than race. It's deeper than income. It's all about power and control. And they'll utilize violence for power and control. David Koresh, he was a Christian preacher. He believed himself to be the Lamb of God. He took a group of people out to Waco, Texas, kind of out in the sticks. And they just want to live according to their view of religion, which is ironic because that's how the country started, with religious zealots who came to America for economic freedom and also religious freedom to practice their religion as they saw fit. And so you had David Koresh and his collective. They were out in Waco, Texas, and in the sticks, not bothering anyone, living according to what they believed God would have them do, and following a preacher. They were his flock. And then the government claimed that they were importing weapons. It's curious. Now, here's the story that, things are dishonest. They claim that one of the packages that was being shipped to Koresh just happened to be opened, and they could see that it was like empty grenade cases, or it was spare parts for rifles and things like that. It just happened to be open. Now that's amazing because I've been ordering from Amazon things that are a lot less sensitive in nature. None of my packages arrive open. No, I don't think that's what happened. I think that the government checks everyone's mail, especially people that they have on particular watch lists. And they always have charismatic leaders, great speakers, excellent organizers, high IQ individuals on watch lists. And him having people who actually follow him, he's clearly on a watch list. And so then they create lies and they use narrative. So then instead of just sending someone there to, interview him or have a conversation, or if necessary, arrest him, they didn't send anyone to arrest him. They didn't give him a phone call. They didn't go knock on the door. They sent a goddamn hit squad. And it's extraordinary that they sent a hit squad because at that point he hadn't been convicted or even accused of a crime. And the strange thing, there were women and children inside of that home, in the compound, women and children. Do you know that they set that damn thing on fire with the women and kids in there? And people, but before that, I forgot. They started shooting. Yeah, they started shooting at these people's homes. And when the people start shooting back, they're crazy. They're crazy. Word? You're crazy if someone's shooting at you and you shoot back? I'd say you're crazy if you don't. You're crazy not to protect your own life. So the government brings in all of this military force. It was Armageddon. And they start attacking these people who were trying to live free of government, free of evil. And then when they couldn't outshoot these people and peel them out with the bullets that were piercing those walls, whizzing by the heads of children and women, then they said, we want you out of here. We're going to smoke you out. And they set that place on fire. It's a true story. But what gets me mad is this. What did any of that have to do with the government? Why has the government got to be involved in everything? These people don't even live near a city. They're not bothering anyone. They're off the grid. Why did you go way out to Waco, Texas, in the middle of nowhere to bother these people? Now, do I think he was a Lamb of God? Hell no. Do I agree with his theology? Absolutely not. But do I care to go bother him? No, I don't. No, I don't. Were they ever proven to have done anything wicked, illegal, or evil? No, but I'll tell you what was wicked, illegal, and evil. The way the government went in there and tried to burn the damn house down with the kids and the women in it. I thought that was crazy. And here's the funny thing. When you listen to the explanation of the victims, they say the government shot first. Then you listen to the government say they shot first. We'll never know. I have a feeling the government shot first. Just observing the behavior of the American government, seems like they like to shoot first. Did Iraq attack America? No, America attacked Iraq. Did Afghanistan attack America? No, America attacked Afghanistan. And the list goes on indefinitely. No, we're aggressive. War culture. We don't wait to be attacked. No, sir, unless it's Israel. I think Israel had actually attacked us. We never attacked back, but that would be a totally different conversation. Exactly. And they love us, right? Because Ukraine's done us a ton of favors, them and Israel. Psych!
Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry. It's not really going to
manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. It's not a gift to Ukraine. It's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that that loan's never getting paid back.
So he's talking about how the land in Ukraine is being bought up as we speak. And you guys may remember, I've talked to you about this for a long time. Remember, I was going on those world tours trying to buy land, and I was finding a strange inability to find land that was worth buying or available or affordable. Now, mind you, I had the money to spend. And ask yourself, why is it that Marquett goes around the world? He's in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, and he can't afford to buy a significant tract of land in a third world country? How's that work out? What's going on? Is Marquett telling us about something that's emerging? Is Marquett letting us know that the Chinese are buying up huge tracts of land in Africa? Is Marquett helping you understand why you guys are going to be endlessly subjugated to having to rent rather than own? Is Marquett explaining to you that there's some just creepy ass thing going on that's stopping individuals from owning land? Is Marquett warning you about the effort is to push you into cities and stack you on top of each other until every city looks like New York, a dirty metropolis with you guys squished into boxes thinking that you have something worthwhile because you have a view of what? Of other buildings? Because you're in a high rise, which means if there's a fire, you're going to die. Are you that stupid that they've tricked you? Oh, I'm on the 50th floor. So if there's a fire, you're going to run down 50 flights of stairs? You're going to die, dummy. That's what that means. But you think that that's like a privilege. And we have all these fire codes, knowing damn well it's not safe to stack human beings on top of each other that goddamn high. Earthquake, you're dead. Fire, you're dead. Anything, you're dead. You can't get out. It's not safe. Come on now. And you brag about that kind of thing. Even in United Arab Emirates, they trying to sell me villas every time I'm in Dubai. And I'd be willing to buy a villa in Dubai. You know, they're selling them for about the size of the house I had in Las Vegas, right? About the same size. They call it a villa. I'm like, I don't know if I consider this a villa, my boy. This is the same size as the house in Las Vegas I had. Villa, that seems a bit of an extravagant term. I was like, how much land is it on? 0.2 acres. 0.5 acres. Not 1 acre. 0.5 acres, half an acre. So you got this luxury living, but you have scarcely any land and you're still packed and crammed in. You're just the rich version of packed and crammed in. And that makes sense to you? Then you have goofballs like Elon Musk who are wicked and wealthy. And I hate to put those two things together, but that's just the case. And we listen to him as though he's like us and has our interests at heart. Like, first off, Elon Musk is not an American. Why do you guys act like he's one of us? He's a foreigner. Just like somebody who came in through that border, he's a foreigner. Maybe it's racism that makes you think he's like us. Maybe that's what it is. He don't have a Spanish accent. He's not brown. Yeah, he's not one of us. He's a foreigner. Do you know where Elon Musk is from? Yeah. Did you think he was an American before I said that?
No.
Oh, you knew he wasn't one of us?
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't even know where he is from, where he's from, though, huh? I know. People think he's from America.
Switzerland?
You said Switzerland?
No.
South Africa.
No.
South. He's an
I knew
African.
it was an S.
He's an African. He's an African. Yeah, this ball is a sub-Saharan African. Comedy. But he's not one of us. And he says all these ridiculous things like we need to all be repopulating the earth, having kids. No, actually, we don't. The earth is already under strain. People are already scrounging. The metrics that they use in macroeconomics to define the health of an economy is the GDP growth, which I don't think is a healthy metric. The GDP does not have to be constantly growing, especially if we don't have runaway inflation. You don't have growing populations in many places like Italy, South Korea, Germany. You don't have growing populations, so you probably won't have growing GDP. You have an aging population and you have low birth rates. So we need to adjust. We need to be looking at per capita income as a measure. There's so many things that need to be rethought. You do have explosive populations in India, Nigeria, China, and other places like that. And we all know India, we've been seeing huge waves of racism, anti-Indian racism going on Twitter. I think it's very counterproductive because we can't pull out what is true and what is just hateful. I've been to India many times. I love Indian people. I despise going to India. It is a very backward country, way more so than any place you find in sub-Saharan Africa. The health standards are atrocious, absolutely filthy, which is a shame because the food is delicious and the women are lovely and the gentlemen are very spiritual, good people. But the fact of the matter is, we need to manage humankind and human populations and spread civilizing culture. We do not need to have explosive population growth. We do not need to be tracking GDP as a metric for the health of a country and an economy. And we have so many people who might be good at their given pursuit. Elon Musk seems to be great at making electric cars, but terrible as a statesman, and terrible as a man and a leader of men and as a family man. One of his children is a Transformers. Did you know that? Yeah, one of his kids transitioned. So, and they have weird names like Quarth. Like, they're named after planets, Saturn. Yeah, so we need to think twice and know that we cannot take everyone's advice because they have a bunch of money, which is good. I mean, that's a good start for, being a leader, is being able to acquire money, because it shows that you understand markets and people and you know how to work through systems and solve problems. Bro, I'm telling you, man. The funny thing is that your public schools are so bad that maybe 30% of what I'm saying, the most critical things, most people don't even understand. And so as a result of you not understanding what I'm actually saying, it's not that much of a threat because your public schools have failed you at such a high level. That's the good news for the government. And really, if the government cared about any of you, they'd invest greatly in early childhood education. Scarcely, none of you, or not none, very few of you can speak proper English. That's extraordinary when English is the first language of all of us in the United States and in South Africa and in Australia and United Kingdom. But people can scarcely speak the language anymore. It's really extraordinary. And what's worse is now people think they're getting clever. Like, oh yeah, no, I can just have chat GPT write an essay. Okay, that's possible, but chat GPT cannot think for you. And chat GPT cannot make your life decisions. And chat GPT can be used by anyone. So the advantage that you think you had, you actually don't have, dummy, because everyone has access to the same AI. And you're using consumer grade AI anyways. So you're already at a great disadvantage, because please know that every bit of technology that comes to you as a citizen has probably been in the hands of government for like 15 years already. So you're not doing anything impressive, and you're competing with other peons as well, which means that you're still on the same level. And it means that the only work that will be financially rewarded in the future will be work that is highly creative or done by people who are extraordinary geniuses. And otherwise, you'll all be lower class, not middle class, but lower class. There will be increasing gaps in income. There will only be the poor and the rich. There will be nothing in the middle, because in the middle is what used to exist. That's a thing of the past. In the middle is when you could be average and get on just fine. Now being average will lead you to great poverty, because when you're average, we can easily replace you with machine or software. For example, I remember when I was looking at a property in Louisiana, and I made an order, and the gentleman came back. I said 3 specific things. He got all 3 of them wrong. And I said to myself, you really are not a waiter. What you really are, you're a delivery person, and you don't realize it. Your only actual job is to go get the food and bring the food back. You're too stupid. You're too stupid to actually take the order. Literally, all you had to do is write down what I said, and you failed at that. All you had to do is write down what I said, and you couldn't do it. You could easily be replaced by an iPad. All we actually need you to do is deliver the food. Go pick it up and bring it back, and we could probably replace that as well with some technology. We'll do that later, but for now we can replace you with an iPad, which is to say average people like that will disappear. They will be poverty stricken, but they won't know that they're in poverty, because they'll still have Jordans, they'll still have video games, they'll still be able to watch dumb white girls say Haktua on Instagram and remain, perpetually distracted. So they won't know that they're poor, but they will in fact be poor. Ladies and saints, I'm gonna go ahead and wind this one down. This stuff is always actually quite heavy because I'm speaking, but I know people at some level are not hearing me. You understand? Like, I'm talking, but people are not hearing me. If you take away anything, here's what you should take away. Spend more time with your friends and family. Contribute more to your friends and family, to the saints, to the SASS, and to your local section. Those relationships will be critical to your financial success. You do not need loans if you have friends. You don't need to get a bank loan if you have family, if you have the saints together. You don't need that. And those are the things that will eat at your financial strength. Interest that you pay on credit cards, interest that you pay on loans. That'll eat at your financial strength. So be smart, use relationships, be moral. Morality will save you money. I've saved so much money because I've never bought a drop of alcohol in my entire life. Aside that which I bought for the podcast, which is a business expense for the slores. I don't drink a drop of it. I've never had the expense in my time of waking up with a hangover because I've never gotten drunk. Morality will save you so much money, save you so much time and energy. It'll maintain your life force.
Those who are wise will always be able to see what I'm doing, because if you can't watch 4 of my videos and not see what I'm about. You can't watch 4 of my videos and not see that there's something deeper here. And more importantly, you can't be among the saints and not see that we have something strong and powerful, and it only gets stronger. Saints, it has been truly a pleasure to be here fellowshipping with you. I tell you, I could have done a lot of things tonight, and I'm so happy that I did this and had this time to spend with you. It's been an honor. Let us end this the way we always end this, with our tradition, the creed of the assassin. Repeat after me with full conviction, knowing this is true of you, the creed of the assassin.
I am going to be who I truly am.
Because I am remarkable.
And I'm going to strive every moment to show the greatest part, to show the greatest part, to show the greatest part of who I am. Until next time.